Is Ethan Klein's lawsuit against the Hasan orbiters sexist? We're going to get into it today on The Legal Mindset, where we teach you to be your own judge. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney living over here in Asia, and I'm happy to talk about this on this Fast Facts premiere. Now, this is the last one I'm going to do while I'm on vacation. I'm in yet another hotel room, yet another lovely tropical island here in Thailand, enjoying my freedom, enjoying my vacation, having a nice mojito on the beach. But I needed to come and talk about this because this is a discussion I've seen circulating across the internet and also from the mouths of the orbiters themselves. So we're going to get into it today and give a presentation on, is this lawsuit sexist? And I'm also going to give you at the end a real critique and something that I think can be levied, can be brought against Ethan Klein that is a legitimate critique other than sexism. So let's get into this today. Of course, as always, I have a lovely presentation for you guys of this lawsuit. So let's start into this. And really, I jumped into this one with Caseytron. And Caseytron, as we're all aware, just can't shut up. And one thing that you need to do when you're facing any sort of legal trouble is shut up, shut up, shut up. But she is running her mouth. And there's two comments I saw that jumped out to me. The first one was, don't let anyone dull your sparkle, little girls, even when it's powerful men who get litigious to evoke support from incel communities that love to humiliate women. This is not about copyright. Big Mama's going to get through it. Send your energy. That is followed by, this isn't about copyright. This is about evoking incel support. As someone who has been the target of incel harassment for 10 plus years, there's a lot of them and a few who speak up against it. Men who delight in humiliating women for clicks. I'm so tired of being a target of this. So is copyright about this? Like, let's talk about let's talk about this issue. First of all, my first argument against this is the law itself is objective. This is not a law that involves mental state or individual. It focuses on whether or not you copied work. That doesn't care about your sex, race, national origin, or sexual orientation. It is neutral as to those things. A case that is brought against a woman is exactly the same as a man. It's exactly the same whether you're from Florida or California or New York or whatever. You can be any sort of gender identity. It doesn't matter. The case is the same. It proceeds the same in court. And the other thing is the impact of the ruling itself. So let's hypothetically, which may happen, that Ethan wins. The impact of that legal precedent, the impact of a W for Ethan Klein affects everybody, regardless of their identity, sex, gender, race, whatever. It doesn't matter. And men are going to be very highly affected. In fact, perhaps most affected because of the simple fact that the majority of the creators, as far as the statistics that I've seen, now I might be wrong on this, but everything I've seen still tends to trend that over all platforms, because this can affect every platform, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Kick, every platform, that across all platforms, men are still the majority of creators. So coming from that and making the assumption that, okay, men are the majority of creators still, that would tend to impact men more as more channels are reacting to content. Reaction to content, whether it's full videos, partial videos, etc., is a huge part of the internet. It's a massive part of the internet. And the impact of that is going to hit men. So even those incel channels, even those channels that are out there making incel, MGTOW videos, whatever, those guys are going to be highly impacted too, because what do they do? In fact, many of those incel channels, all they do is react to other stuff. All they do is pull stuff up. So aren't the incels going to take a L on this as well? So that doesn't really work out to me in terms of how that law plays out in making that argument. Furthermore, I think the real target is not the females. I think that while the three parties are female, Frogan, Denims, Caseytron, they're all women, right? As far as we know. It seems apparent that the ultimate target may be Hasan Piker himself, right? Obviously, Ethan Klein did the content nuke on Hasan, was targeting Hasan. Hasan was the one he really wants. He's got the real beef with Hasan. That's where the deep-seated energy is. And based on how this lawsuit proceeds and take this very carefully, people. I know my internet autists are going to be very focused on this, but pay attention. Based on how it proceeds, it could possibly cause a cause of action, meaning open up a lawsuit against Hasan. It is possible. Note, this is speculative. This is me speculating. We don't know. It's also equally possible that there's nothing that would open up that door. But I do think that Ethan went through this door. I do think he targeted these creators because of their adjacency to Hasan. And I also think the statements that they made were because of their adjacency to Hasan. Now, I will say the other factor which clearly comes in is the maliciousness of their statements. Obviously, these three creators clearly stated on video, they literally self-reported that they were maliciously trying to draw views from Ethan Klein and act as a substitute, which I said is at the core of copyright law. So yes, that substitute thing, that's massive, that's huge legally, but I do think the adjacency to Hasan is clearly something that comes into play when you look at this in a broader context, when you pull out at a higher level. If these people weren't so close to Hasan, they probably wouldn't make statements that were so zealous, right? So that's another factor there. And the last thing is, and this is one that may be a real criticism, which you might be able to bring of Ethan Klein. And if you wanted to paint him as a villain, and I'm kind of throwing a bone here to the people that want to criticize Ethan, right? If you want to criticize him, I think a fair criticism, something that is objective, is that Ethan Klein is, if you want to view it this way, picking on smaller creators, neutral to race, sex. So what I'm talking about is he is a Goliath and they're the David, right? They're the smaller ones, right? So they are the tiny ones, he's the big guy. So if you want to put it this way, that I think is something you could say, and it's fair because he is objectively a bigger creator than any of these people. He also has more money than any of these people. Clearly, this is just obviously true, right? This is a common litigation tactic used by large corporations and the wealthy. How do I know this? I helped do this. I was corporate counsel for large evil corporations, and I sat in the room as we spun our fingers and rubbed our money together and planned lawsuits against small parties or small corporations to get case precedent, to get case law that we could turn around and use against bigger people. We did this intentionally. We did this to win because we want to get the W above all. And Ethan Klein might be using this same tactic. In fact, I would say, from an outside observer, that probably is a good one. Now, you could also say, well, hold on, Andrew. Hasan didn't make the same statements. The case isn't as strong against Hasan. That's also true. But you could say, hey, look, he's going to get that case precedent, and then he's going to be able to turn around and go after others, including large creators. And winning against small creators is going to open up the door for larger creators. And not just Hasan. It's going to open up the door for many people to come against large creators. In fact, I have had my inbox full of creators asking if they can sue as well, which just tells me that they're opening up the door. A lot of other creators I've seen online, I've seen Tectone, other people saying, hey, can I sue too? Like, let me sue too. I want to sue too. People are going to want to file cases if Ethan wins. They're going to say, hey, I want to enforce this. I want to come after people. There's people I don't like. And that can be a bad thing. There is a potential for this to have a slippery slope, a knock-on effect, which hurts the creator ecosystem overall. And this is something I've been cautious of. And this is one thing that I've said against the Ethan Klein camp just because of the chilling effect that may have more broadly. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is him picking on the little guys? Do you think this is sexist? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next one. We're having a stream on Saturday, Bangkok time, Saturday night Bangkok time, Saturday morning EST, going over the full documents. Catch you guys next time.